Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God!
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this.
Let's get it on! On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Flip the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DiPrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
Love you. Love you.
First things first.
First things first, it's the DU General, Money P. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not 2 and 7. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Tavis Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in. The first things first with the queen of black talk radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis.
First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580, good morning and God bless. I'm Dominique DiPrima. The show is called First Things First, and my first thing, it's always my first thing. Every day is my first thing is giving thanks to God, giving thanks, giving praises, and asking for blessings, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders. And let's stir this pot. We got a lot to talk about, and we got a busy day around here. It's been kind of a wild week of lots of time on the mic. You're always welcome in, no matter how busy we are. And I think you know how to get here. You call 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580, or tap in on YouTube at KBLA 1580 and get in the comment section. The live running commentary has become a whole community and a vibe for the KBLA delegation. So that's one way to do it. The way we do things around here on a Thursday, well, the third hour we do a deep dive with a person of interest, a hot topic. Today we're going to talk about finding the art in your politics and the politics in your art with Brooke Obie, who is a noted film critic, black feminist, and filmmaker. So that'll be a great conversation for this moment in time. Hour 2, we'll be talking with your auntie, Maxine Waters joins me for that hour. And right now, it is none other than, I don't think we call you a KBLA contributor now. You're also a KBLA weekend host and a contributor to the Los Angeles Progressive, a journalist, and many other things. James Farr, good morning.
Good morning, Dominique. How are you? I think I'm still a rookie, though, because I haven't gotten a locker and, like other perks, right? There are more perks?
Yeah, I'm sure there are. I couldn't speak to that. Miles says no.
No.
You have reached level 10. Miles says nope.
That's it.
I say you never know.
You never know.
You never know.
All right.
Another day, another opportunity.
Love the snacks in the break room, though.
Yeah, the snacks are good.
Yes.
Hey, Tavis keeps us in snacks and fresh air. This
Yes.
IQ Air, best air in L.A., is in our studios. We have a little monitor that tells us how clean it is, and then this IQ Air system that actually filters our breathing throughout the entire building. So that's a blessing.
It's because it gets heated in here,
And we also have tea, coffee, and water, so you won't die.
No.
So that's a good thing.
No.
Air, water, food. Well, how's it going on your Saturday show, Saturday mornings at 10?
I think we got the training wheels off, kind of found our groove and following this story arc and enjoying being able to talk with, members in the community over the last, 12 weeks now. So it goes by fast.
So when you say the story arc, you're talking about Altadena, of course.
Absolutely.
Because your show is mostly dedicated to the recovery of the Altadena Eaton fire and beyond. And it's there's no end in sight.
No. I mean, Conversation Live Altadena Rising, which airs live Saturdays at 10 a.m. with the replay on Sundays at noon. Dominique, initially I wondered, could I tell stories every week, right? Is it that much to tell? And once you start getting into the history, the culture, the people, the tragedy is just that, right? And people are still, I dare say they're not better off today than they were when you came out.
No permits. Still no permits?
There's still there are some permits, but, Supervisor Catherine Barger authored a motion just Monday asking that the permit fees be deferred. Not waived, but deferred.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Deferred meaning you have more time to pay it, but you still have to pay it.
Yeah, deciding that they learned through the Army Corps of Engineers that about 95% of the people had some form of insurance. So they're allowing the county to kind of set up and allow the insurance companies to reimburse the county for permit fees. So it wouldn't necessarily come out of depending, it's still situational, but it may not come out of someone's pocket initially. It can kind of be reimbursed through the insurance.
So that's county data showing that 95% of the people have insurance?
According to Supervisor Barger and the Army Corps of Engineers.
Well, I mean, I hope
some form of insurance. Let's just not blanket it and say insurance.
Some form of insurance. Car insurance.
Some form of insurance.
I mean, I don't know. That's Republican math, but I hope that's true because that would be, some form of home insurance because that would be very helpful. If you own, obviously we've talked about this before, if you've owned your home outright, as many black Altadenans may have because it may have been passed on from generation to generation, you don't have to carry insurance, in which case I think the FEMA ceiling is like $50,000. Mm-hmm. You can't even build a bathroom for that.
No.
In Altadena.
But I don't want you to get hung on the some form of insurance part, right? Because that could be completely underinsured, right? So it doesn't matter if you have that, you don't have enough. And so a lot of people are falling into that space. So, the language, as Tavis says, interrogate, read between the lines. That's what I read. I'm like, wait a minute. Some form. That's not a reality for people. Many of the people in the community are asking for those fees to be waived flat out. They're looking for relief.
Yeah, I don't blame them. I mean, some form of insurance sounds problematic in that we know in general, people are underinsured in California. And when it comes to black folks, we tend to be even more so. So if it would cost $1 million to rebuild your house and you have $200,000 worth of insurance, what do? You're not going to be able to rebuild your. Yeah, you're a lot short.
You're just short. That's just what it is. And she also in that motion, or the county is trying to move to more of a AI kind of model where the plan checking and allowing engineers and architects to kind of self-check, so to kind of speed up that process a little bit. But again, it's just that motion still has to go before entire board of supervisors, and I'm sure staff is going to have to do a study and a report. So I think it's kind of trying to save face now that we're 5 months out, and like I said, not much has changed. I mean,
I'm starting to see more stories about Barger doing this and Barger doing that, and it's interesting to me because it is 5 months out. It seems like a delayed response. I guess better than no response, but it seems like a delayed response, particularly when it comes to addressing the issue of business owners who were left out of the initial conversation. That makes sense. You got to get people into housing. The immediate emergency is, where are folks going to live and how are they going to rebuild? But now I'm starting to hear more about relief for small businesses. However, it still seems like a terrible quandary, because if the people aren't back, i.e. your customers,
right,
how do you make a decision on whether to take a loan or accept assistance that you'll be accountable for, even if the business doesn't reestablish itself?
Well, I had Perry Bennett, the owner of Perry's, join on one week, and we were going to have our broadcast there. He said his business is kind of maintaining right now, but it's only because of the disaster workers and the construction workers. They got to eat somewhere, right?
Yeah.
But once that goes, he's right back into that space of there's 20-something thousand people not in that immediate area.
Well, we got to hope that when the construction workers leave, the people whose homes are being constructed come back. I mean, that's what one would hope.
Well, what's happening? Some people are, now their lots have been cleared. Some have RVs on there. I've even seen some in tents, right? Like, people are coming back to their land if they're able to, but we're still a long ways away from
5 to 10 years, probably.
Easily.
Right? Yeah.
Easily.
And then if I'm, these professors that have been testing on their own, testing the land, and if what they're finding and what I'm reading is correct, having a tent on your land or an RV could be kind of dangerous. I mean, they're finding lead and all kinds of toxins still on parcels that have been cleared by the Army Corps of Engineers, which could mean some kind of toxic cleanup is needed, or to remove another 5-6 inches of soil.
And that's the debate, right? And that's what people have to decide. Some have said the Army Corps of Engineers, what they're doing isn't enough. But even if it were enough, right? Let's just say my property were completely scrubbed, right, and ready to go, and yours isn't. And then the one behind you isn't. And then, so what's the radius around my property that the other properties won't impact me? So
it's, so you'll be contaminated by your neighbor, is what you're saying.
Right.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we have your show. Folks can keep an eye on it, but what can we actually do? That's the question. We'll look at that. Of course, we are going to look at, I know it's a local hour, but there's always local repercussions and conversation around these pardons. Big Trump with some big pardons. And we have some cop information to unpack. I've been talking about it all week, but of course James Farr always has a perspective and an investigative reporter's eye on some of these issues.
I was in court the other week.
For Trevor Kirkand?
Yeah, I was there.
That's the LA sheriff's deputy who was convicted of actually abusing an elder black woman, and now he's getting pretty much a get out of jail free card. We talked about it yesterday with attorney Carrie Harper. Can't wait to see what James Farr is going to add to that conversation. Oh, we have a lot to talk about. KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with
Dominique DiPrima.
when we come forward.
Another checkup? Why are so many people getting new puppies?
Dr. Kim's veterinary office is littered with cuteness.
We are booked solid for weeks, but who can say no to a puppy, right? Oh, who's a good boy? Oh, who's what? Oh,
She needs to find extra vet techs to get those pups some extra love.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, candidates can find it easier, so you can hire easier. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Now at Verizon, we have some big news for your peace of mind. For all our customers, existing and new, we're locking in low prices for 3 years guaranteed on My Plan and My Home. That's future you peace of mind. And everyone can save on a brand new phone on My Plan when you trade in any phone from one of our top brands. That's new phone peace of mind. Because at Verizon, whether you're already a customer or you're just joining us, we got you. Visit Verizon today. Price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company. They're one of America's largest financial services companies. Like how I'm more than Saquon Barkley, the NFL's reigning leading rusher. I'm also the NFL's leading husher. Shh, hush up back there. Wow, I might have just set the hushing record. Well, almost. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Investment Services Corporation, Member FINRA, Columbus, Ohio.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station,
and your favorite morning show host.
Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
So, I can't wait to talk about these pardons. And if you want to talk about it, you're welcome to call in now or with Congresswoman Waters or whenever you like, because I know a lot of folks got a lot to say about that. But before we get to that, you were in court. I reported on this extensively. Under the fake reparationist Bill Asaley, who's now a U.S. attorney for the Trump administration, they are basically offering this jury convicted deputy a post-conviction plea deal, which is almost unheard of. And what did you observe in court that we might have missed?
Aside from, the U.S. attorney who I honestly couldn't tell if he was the defense attorney or the U.S. attorney, the way that he was arguing on behalf of Deputy Trevor Kirkand. He used language, Dominique, that I've never heard before. He said it was barely excessive.
Barely excessive.
Kind of like half pregnant, right? Sort of. And we all saw it, right? But just to hear how they are kind of walked back what we all saw, right? And then just the whole theater of the court, it's packed clearly with deputies, right? Packed. They were rude. They were a bit belligerent, contrary.
Yeah, Attorney Carrie Harper said on yesterday that they were trying to stare her down.
That's an understatement.
Really?
that is an understatement. Asaley, actually got very curt with Attorney Kerry Harper at one point, and as if he had some authority, as if he were the marshal in the court, he, kind of threatened to have her removed. And, she, from what I was observing, he was just interfering with what she was doing.
Right.
She wasn't going towards him. But I think it is just a miscarriage of justice that someone can be convicted by a jury of their peers.
Yeah.
And turn around and have it.
I mean, I always felt like the jury verdicts were sort of sacred in this country. Like, a jury has spoken. That's what we've always heard, even in the OJ case where, certain folks were very mad. Well, a jury has spoken, and we left it alone. Apparently, we're in an era of our country where judges are being arrested and jury verdicts can be overturned by a MAGA prosecutor colluding with a judge, which that judge is a Reagan appointee, as Attorney Harper pointed out. Mm-hmm. So this isn't even a MAGA judge.
I mean, but
allegedly.
Just listening to the proceedings, I mean, it was a 2.5, 3 hour proceeding. You had every indication or belief that the judge was not going to make the order that he made.
Yeah. Then that order was downgrading the charges, which the jury found this deputy guilty of, to a misdemeanor. So now he can go and be a cop somewhere else and throw down more people.
He can still be a cop unless your favorite district attorney decides to prosecute him.
Snowball's chance?
Maybe.
I don't see that happening. That would be a rebellion against his MAGA overlords.
Of course it would. But it is worth.
It's possible. Well, and Attorney Kerry Harper did let us know yesterday that she it will appeal this to the Ninth Circuit. Mm-hmm. And she's going to try to get this sort of bizarre maneuver overruled.
Yeah. And shout out to Kerry, right? Excuse me, Attorney Harper. She had no interest in the case, the criminal case, other than representing her client, the victim. And, she's already settled the case on behalf of the victim,
right.
But she's still in the courtroom. And when I say fighting, she is fighting for justice, like in every sense of her being. And so we see some very transactional attorneys, but I really appreciate watching her fight on behalf of the community. I know she's done that with cases in Pasadena and Altadena.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, Attorney Kerry Harper is someone I've interviewed many times, but I also consider her a friend. And, if I was going to have someone fighting for me, I need that energy. If you can't fight for me like Attorney Kerry Harper fights for her clients, I don't want you. I don't want you to be my lawyer. Don't want it. Yeah, that's just where I'm at, because she will go to the wall. And to your point, she didn't have to do that. They got their money.
I mean, but Judge Wilson couldn't wait to allow Trump, since he's pardoning people. Am I saying that right? Pardoning people.
Mm-hmm. Commuting sentences
and things like that. He couldn't wait for that. He couldn't let the jury verdict stand and then let the guy on 1600 Pennsylvania make that decision.
Yeah, well, you mean the president? That guy?
That guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, so the president has made a bunch of pardons. Well, really commutations, which is different, right? A commutation doesn't say that you didn't do it. It doesn't take it off of your record. It just changes your sentence.
It changes your sentence.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's start with NBA Youngboy. He had multiple gun charges, mm-hmm. and was actually on home confinement. Okay. So he had done some time in prison, and Cantrell, I never knew his name, Cantrell Golden. Youngboy never broke again, who is wildly popular.
Yeah, I'm learning that.
Wildly popular. So he was sentenced to 2 years in prison for gun-related charges, but he was facing much more than that. Pleaded guilty for a prescription drug ring, and was in a position where he would have heavy restrictions on his travel.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's set to tour starting in September.
Well, I'm all for a brother working, right?
Yeah. Well, look.
But pay your debt, if it's a just conviction.
Free them all.
Yeah. Free them all?
Free them all.
Free them all.
Free them all. I
don't know about that.
Yeah, well.
I don't know about
look,
that.
Look, I'm not an abolitionist, but I think we could free most black people from prison.
Mm-hmm.
Most. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, but
Larry Hoover.
Yes.
The Larry Hoover pardon. Does that make Ye look smart?
Is that a real question?
Of course it's a real question.
No, it doesn't.
He went to the White House and he asked, he brought one of Hoover's lawyers and he asked him to pardon him.
Okay.
And put on the red hat.
Okay.
So are you all impressed? He wasn't just putting on the red hat just to call the man daddy. He had a goal. The goal has now been achieved. Does that make you, Miles, make Ye look smart to you? I mean, the guy still has to do time, by the way, because he has state charges.
Yeah, a lot of
100 years.
Yeah, I mean.
Personally, it doesn't make Ye look smarter. This is what Trump is on right now. He's doing it for both sides, everybody. So I'm not really surprised by it. It feels like more symbolic than anything, but it is what it is. No, it doesn't make Ye look smarter, though.
It's political. It's kind of political theater because the guy still has to serve 100 years. But it's kind of brilliant.
Oh, from a marketing standpoint, and Trump being on brand, and
well, because he's already pardoned Kodak Black and
right.
Lil Wayne,
right?
And Harry O. For those people, black men who voted for him because they thought that he would be helpful to prisoners, he's delivering on a promise.
He is.
Whether it's more theater or whether it's more substantive, he's delivering on a promise. Because I speak truth to power and truth to powerless. It is what it is. We'll continue this after news, traffic, and sports on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is threatening to veto any state budget that includes broad-based taxes to balance an estimated $1 billion deficit.
I'm telling you, anything that's broad-based and that would have a negative impact on working families, I would veto a budget like that.
Pritzker said he would specifically veto any budget that includes tax increases on individuals, corporations, or the sales tax. The Capitol Jewish Museum reopens today in Washington, D.C. just over a week after a deadly shooting outside. 2 Israeli embassy staffers were killed on May 21st. The museum opens at noon following a memorial service for the victims. And President Trump has pardoned rapper NBA Youngboy, who faced fraud and gun charges and commuted 6 life sentences for Gangster Disciples co-founder Larry Hoover. Hoover remains in prison on a separate 200-year sentence for a 1973 murder in Illinois. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Every day, a child in poverty waits for a sponsor is another day of hopelessness. There are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Just text the word radio to 83393.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
One half of the NBA Finals is set. The Oklahoma City Thunder crushed Minnesota by 30 last night to win the Western Conference title. 34 points and 8 assists for NBA MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Second appearance for OKC in the NBA Finals. They were there in 2012 with Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. OKC lost to LeBron and the Miami Heat in 5 games. This was the second straight year Minnesota lost in the Western Western Conference Finals, Minnesota is one of 7 teams that have never made it to the NBA Finals. The other 6 are the Clippers, Charlotte, Sacramento, Memphis, Atlanta, and New Orleans. OKC will have a week to rest up for the finals. They will host Game 1 on Thursday, June 5th against Indiana or New York. Game 5 for the Pacers and Knicks in the Eastern Conference is tonight in New York. Indiana has a 3-1 lead. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Founded in Los Angeles in 1986, litigation powerhouse Quinn Emanuel has deep roots in the Los Angeles community. Since 2007, we have litigated some of the largest fires on the West Coast. We are proud to be the only AmLaw 100 firm in the country to represent wildfire victims, giving affected individuals, families, and businesses the same focus and individualized attention we devote to our Fortune 500 clients. BTI Consulting has repeatedly recognized Quinn Emanuel as among the 4 law firms in-house counsel least likely to oppose in any litigation, and we are often deemed the most feared. And after securing over $80 billion for our clients in various matters firm-wide, we understand why. If you have been affected by the recent wildfires in Altadena and the Palisades and would like to discuss your situation further, please contact wildfire support at QuinnEmanuel.com or call us at 213-443-3050. Quinn Emanuel is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., the Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, James Farr is in the building. You can hear him and see him every Saturday at 10 after This Is Not a Drill, which, of course, is the Black Lives Matter show. They broadcasted from Minnesota last weekend in honoring the 5-year angelversary of George Floyd. Do you have reflections on that, by the way? We haven't talked.
You know, that, it kind of just takes me back to 2020 and kind of what that moment was. And I remember, I don't think I've ever been so moved by watching, 8 minutes and some odd seconds of that. That was difficult.
I watched it once, maybe twice, because I might have caught it on TV, but I that's my limit. I'm not watching those over and over again.
I watched it a lot.
I can't.
I really did.
No, I can't do it. I have to protect my health, mental health.
Yeah, it was that one was something very, very difficult. But, to see where we are, it's almost like we've gone right back. In
some respects we have.
There was some progress, right? But slowly over the last 5 years, I've watched the Black Lives Matter signs kind of get pulled up out of people's yards. I've kind of watched, kind of the allyship, if you will, kind of fade, and people.
Yeah, but you've also been tracking Black Lives Matter,
Absolutely.
And they've had a lot of victories.
No.
Black Lives Matter grassroots.
This isn't an indictment on them. I'm talking about the people, right? White folks.
Yeah.
Who were up in arms in 2020. I mean, I was in rallies and demonstrations with thousands of people right in Pasadena.
And Latinos and Asians, Palestinians for sure, which is part of the reason for the solidarity we see now. Yeah, I think that people are backing off. I think corporate America backed off more, but the consciousness hasn't changed. I believe one of the reasons you see young people as active as they are right now around the Palestinian question is because of the consciousness that they gained through the Black Lives Matter movement.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a reason for the attacks on universities at the moment.
I remember Dr. Abdullah saying to me one time, this was years ago, she said something to the effect that once you're woke, it's hard to sleep. And so what 2020 did was kind of shock the conscious for a lot of people.
Yep.
Right? It really brought it right into their living rooms, into their cars, into their churches, into their organizations. And we saw the other side, white nationalism, just double down, triple down, quadruple down, to continue to resist the progress that was made. You know.
Well, yeah, I think that's right. I believe that they are determined, this administration, to make sure that consciousness doesn't continue to spread. That's why they're attacking the Ivy League schools and defunding the regular universities, the state universities. But I want to go back for a second to these pardons. The pardon of the reality TV stars was the first one that we saw rolled out. The Chrisleys. I'm not really a follower of them. I know that Savannah, the daughter, spoke at the Republican National Convention, and they had some pretty serious charges or white collar crimes. And then he also convicted he pardoned a former sheriff. These are pardons, not commutations.
And the insurrectionists, right? You know that.
Well, yeah, all of those, like 1,200 of those.
That right there, Dominique, that is unconscionable.
Yeah.
You know, I mean that people would storm the Capitol, get convicted, rightfully so, right? I guess we have to say again, he's delivering on a promise.
I mean, according to Vox, one of the people that he pardoned in April, that pardon came right after the pardonee's mama gave $1 million to his super PAC. And then Savannah Chrisley, the Chrisleys were the ones, the reality show folks he pardoned this week, was a speaker at the convention and helped raise money for them. And so, I mean, yeah, so it was 1,500, I guess. I thought it was 1,200 January 6th. Insurrectionists was 1,500 that he pardoned.
I mean, I'm less bothered by the white privilege card, you know, the ones that, you know, literally bought to get out of jail card. I'm less bothered by that because I expect that. It's that mass scale of not 1,200 but 1,500 people.
1,500, yeah. Well, yeah, but you know, and again, I have mixed feelings. I'm unlike you and Miles. I do think it makes Kanye look smarter. I mean, if you're going to go and...
I thought you were saying free everybody again.
What? Well, look, there is a man serving a life sentence for murdering my sister.
Mm-hmm.
I do not want him to go free.
Okay.
So, free them all.
But him.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and there's probably a few others.
Okay.
Right? So unlike many of my friends, I am not an abolitionist. I think some people need to be in prison and some people need to be... And we need to have law enforcement, just the kind that doesn't kill, maim, and abuse. I think we need some kind of form of law enforcement.
That's another conversation. I want to hear you defend why Kanye is smart. I mean, because I'm
look, if you're going
I'm either going to take notes or take points.
If you're going to put on the red hat and call somebody your daddy, you should get something out of it. And apparently he did. This was important to him. He wanted Hoover out. Hoover's not getting out, but I think the brilliance of this move on the part of Trump is that now the only way Hoover can get out is if a Democratic governor pardons him on state charges. J.B. Pritzker, who has presidential aspirations, is the governor of Illinois. So he's not going to pardon him.
So are you suggesting that he pardoned Hoover, right?
I'm
to get the same effect, like this is the Dems guy now, like
and it won't, because it'll still be credited to Trump. What I'm saying is that the president has put an incredible amount of pressure on Dems and made Dems look like the ones that lock up and throw away the key on black folks, even though that's not true if you look at policies. But if you look at the individuals, the Kodak Black, the Lil Wayne, I think it's very smart move on the part of the president.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and speak for the brothers. First of all, none of us I know would be calling President Donald Trump daddy. That's first of all.
Well, yeah.
Second of all,
Let's
we
hope
ain't
not.
getting nothing out of it because we would never call. So how calling Trump daddy equates to him being smart?
Well, I don't. I think for me that was a mental health moment. But I think
for you or for Kanye, because Kanye
no,
is
I'm
on
saying
brand.
For me, that's how I read
Gotcha.
Kanye. And yeah, and the thing about Ye is that, he's crazy. I mean, I don't mean to say crazy. He has mental health challenges, but he's also crazy like a fox because he is a marketing mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no question about it. But anyway, the point is, Paul Lee says in the chat, Ye is having a mental breakdown after the death of his mom. Of course, we know that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not so much talking about the call him daddy part. The fact that he went in there and said, he brought one of Hoover's attorneys and said, this is important to me. And now Trump gets back in office and commutes the sentence. So it makes Ye look like he was at least doing it for a reason and not just up there kissing the ring. And of course, that was the rumor about Snoop performing there, that it had to do with the Harry O pardon or this pardon.
Stop it, Dominique.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no black man I know calling no white man daddy.
Okay, let's move
I can't get past that.
Okay, well,
that's full stop.
Okay, yeah. So let's
there's no amount of genius.
Let's chalk that up to the mental health part that Paul was talking about, and just go to the Ye showed up at the White House with one of Hoover's lawyers, said this is important to me, and now here comes the commutation.
Mm-hmm.
It looks more like a transactional type of deal rather than just me going and kissing Trump's butt for no reason, was my point.
I think both of them are too impulsive to have planned that far in advance. I think it's a matter of convenience for President Trump, as we see with everyone else. It was a pen stroke for him and a few points in a few barbershops and with some segments of the community.
A few points in a few barbershops? You don't think? I think it's going to have more widespread impact than that. I've already talked to some of my friends. Miles, you're not impressed by this.
I mean, it goes to show that Trump means what he says. If you kiss the ring, he will, cash you out. So I'm not.
Sometimes, because he lies so much, it's like it's not reliable. How do you know when he's going to do what he says?
Well, from that point, why are you even kissing the ring in the first place then? If you're not even sure you're going to get what you want from kissing the ring, why kiss the ring? That doesn't sound like a good strategy or a chess move to me.
And when has him lying ever mattered? Like, to continue to, he is a liar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to continue to call him a liar as if that should surprise us to think that he's going to actually tell the truth, just assume he's lying. Because his lie is somewhere in the middle of the truth for him. Somehow it makes sense to him.
Yeah, well.
And also the family as well has been pushing forward a lot longer than Kanye has. So I do feel like Kanye was a big catalyst in getting the attention from the family on a main scale, especially with that show him and Drake did at the Coliseum a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But I don't give Kanye the full credit for this. I mean, remember him and Kim came into the office and she was trying to get her pardons off too. He was on the list, so I get it. Yeah, it's all interconnected. But to give Kanye the full win, sure, you get the win, Kanye, but it doesn't make you sound like this is your genius finally showing off for the world. This is
yeah. Well, I do see what you're saying there, and I agree. I think this is more impactful than you're giving it credit for. Michael Parker in the chat says Ye is finished, and Paul's saying this is a misinformed story will run on the Breakfast Club, which it is intended to do to target black youth. Absolutely.
No, I don't disagree with that at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And my point is that I think it will be effective in doing so. And yes, I agree, Paul, it's strategic, but I think it's a strategy that works because the people I was arguing with ahead of the election who have been, I guess the word for it now is justice impacted, are celebrating this big time. And they're looking at it as, I told you Trump would be better for the black man.
And I still don't think Trump is. I understand that sentiment. I have friends that were justice impacted who have lived very carefully and kind of without able to do a lot of things because of records and stuff or jobs or just whatever, So I get it. And they looked at, here's someone 34 felony, gets convicted, and becomes president, right?
Billionaire, white man.
Yeah, but
let's not leave that out.
No, and that's very important, right? I get it. But I just don't see how they continue to see as him being beneficial for black people.
E.C. Courtney says, correct, Miles. Absolutely, black man. No, I'm not saying he's beneficial for black people. I am under no illusion.
No, I'm not saying some are saying it.
He's literally defunding Social Security. So we're happy. I'm happy for NBA Youngboy. I'm happy for Larry Hoover. But to me, for us to disregard the fact that he's defunding Head Start, which helps our children, defunding Social Security, which keeps your granny off the streets, means that those are just two small examples of policies that are being enacted right now that are anti-black American, even if you don't care about the Haitians being deported and, the probable attempted overthrow of Burkina Faso, et cetera, et cetera. Even if you don't care about international issues, you just care about domestic issues. For black folks, it is not en masse a win. It's not. I'm very clear on that. But I'm saying, credit where credit is due. And I think this is going to work for them in ways that create problems for the Democratic Party. I don't see how Dems counteract that. Even if J.B. Pritzker commuted Larry Hoover's sentence, he's been in jail prison since the 70s.
73, yeah. I mean, Democrats are in trouble regardless, right?
Yeah.
That's just what it is. And it's almost like Trump is in the whole, this new MAGA Republican Party. It's almost like it's a blowout and they want to run the score up. So he's going to continue to do things that may surprise us, right? Which is him just delivering on his promises to his base, rallying up a few brothers or two in the certain barbershops and whatever. By making these type of pardons. I don't put anything back. I imagine he's going to give us some tax relief at some point before the 26 election cycle. So he's going to run that old playbook. But again, Dems.
Well, Alice Marie Johnson, who is a really effective face for him, I think. She's the woman that was pardoned by Trump his first round of these. As part of, actually, not pardoned. Her sentence was commuted. I mixed those two up.
She was on a cannabis charge, right? I think.
Was it cannabis? I thought she was dealing heavier drugs than that. She was a dealer of some kind.
Right.
But the reason it's so brilliant, aside from pointing her as the pardon czar, which means she had a role in deciding who was going to get these commutations. It gives him a relationship, a high-profile relationship with a likable black woman. That's one of the people Kim K was, lobbying on behalf of. And it reminds people about the First Step Act, which was the best thing, I think the best thing that Trump did in his first presidency, in which, even though it started under Obama and Democrats created it, he's the one that signed it. So he gets credit for it. And it's gotten him a lot of mileage with black people.
So are you going into campaign consulting next year? Because, the Dems need some help.
I'm available now. I'm available now, but I don't think they're going to like what I have to say. 800-920-1580 if you want to weigh in. It's James Farr and Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
Marina Del Rey turns 60, and you're invited to the party. Join us Saturday, May 31st from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Burton Chase Park for Marina Culture Jam, a free community celebration packed with music, dance, art, and fun for all ages. Experience electrifying performances by Takeo Project and Inca. Take a historic harbor tour, join the Freedom Drum Circle, and hop on a $1 water bus ride. Celebrate culture, connection, and coastline. RSVP at beaches.lacounty.gov/Marina Culture Jam.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a Black and brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
The following is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways with the purpose of soliciting sales of vacation ownership. For complete details, please visit fvgradio.com. If you want a 100% complimentary stay at a luxury resort in Cancun, airfare not included, then Family Vacation Getaways is your ticket to paradise. See website for complete details. We're giving away 5 days and 4 nights to the first 50 callers who can name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. An animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. Do you know it? Call now, 800-868-6431, 800-868-6431. You're also eligible for an exciting bonus vacation to Orlando, Florida for just $498. And don't worry about anything ruining your plans. We can extend your travel up to 18 months. Name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird, and get a complimentary Cancun resort stay and an optional bonus vacation to Orlando for just $498. What are you waiting for? Call 800-868-6431, 800-868-6431, and give us your answer. The proceeding is not a contest and is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways and not sponsored by this program or its affiliates.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio. KBLA Talk 1580.
So if you're watching the YouTube stream, which we do every weekday around here at KBLA 1580, then you see that James Farr, who is my partner in politics this morning, is suited and booted. And I'm sorry to disappoint you, but it wasn't for you.
It was for it was to soften the blow.
It wasn't for
I didn't want to
Miles.
get jumped today.
It wasn't for Trump.
No, definitely not.
You're headed out after the show today to do what?
I am going to attend the public homegoing service for the late Nate Holden. The service is at West Angeles at 11 a.m.
And it's going to be packed. Nate Holden,
yes.
If you're not from L.A., you may not know that Nate Holden is a legendary elected official. Served on the city council. There weren't term limits back then, so he was on for a long time.
Forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did a lot of things and has a ton of loyal constituents, even all the way over to Koreatown, to South L.A. All the movers and shakers will be there. They're all going to make speeches.
Yeah, he is why we have Martin Luther King's birthday celebrated here in the state. So that reach, that's from him when he was in the state senate. He went on to become a city council member here in the community, and we're actually the station Tavis is hosting an event at his the theater named in his honor, and
the Nate Holden is a beautiful theater.
Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah.
And then his son Chris, who I have a relationship with and know,
former assembly member,
former Pasadena City Council member.
Well, we call
mayor.
them assembly members forever, even if they don't have a job anymore, don't we?
Well, I still call him. He and I had that discussion. He could be council member, he can be mayor.
Assembly member emeritus.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that homegoing is today. Starts at 11, 3600 Crenshaw Boulevard, and they're going to have a repass after at West Angeles. And if you're going, I would get there early.
Yes.
Because it's going to be packed. If you're not going, I would avoid the area of Crenshaw.
Yeah.
That whole stretch from, I don't know, Jefferson on down.
It's going to be packed.
It's going or on up, actually, because that's heading north. Yeah, it's going to be packed. The traffic is going to be a lot. And I'm glad because, I love it when we turn out to show respect for those who have served the community. Molly Bell saying in the chat, the Dems have been in shock. We will and are coming out of shock, and our issues are real. Our ancestors were turned over in their graves. Get your joy and power back. Yeah, I also think that all of this hand-wringing about the Democratic Party is not really helpful. What are we doing? What's the plan? My analysis, and they've heard it on the air, which is why I doubt I'll ever be hired as a consultant, is they need to stop trying to out-Republican the Republicans. They need to stop being Republican light. And yeah, I agree with Paul. The 90s are over. The 1990s playbook needs to be retired. The energy in the Democratic Party is AOC. It's Bernie Sanders. It's Ayanna Pressley. It's Summer Lee. That's where the energy is. Instead of being a bunch of corporate hacks, they need to lean into what the people want. Because if you take away the title of progressive, the progressive policies are popular with people.
Well, there is
across parties.
There is still hope, because
Ras Baraka.
I'll take that. And certainly a younger ray of hope. But then you have Auntie Maxine on later on.
Yeah,
so I'll take her all day over a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, I mean, she could be doing a whole "I told you so" tour right now, but she's not. She's trying to get stuff done. She really could.
Somehow, I think she's gonna slide that in there a little bit. Like it's not gonna just get glossed over, but because I think she should do it. She should let. Kind of like I told you so, but I didn't want to say I told you so. But
well, you say it all the time, even when you didn't tell us so. But James, remind people about how to find your show and how to find you online.
Conversation Live, Altadena Rising. We are the show of record, chronicling for the nation Saturdays live at 10 a.m. with a replay on Sundays at noon. And you can follow me at James Farr Live.
Right. Or you can just stick around here.
Yeah,
because he's bound to pop up.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Sometimes you got to pop up.
Yeah, and we're going to leave that there.
Don't go.
What I will say though is I appreciate the ways that you have supported this show, First Things First, as a contributor, and also popping up when a sister got to dip out. Much appreciation to you for that, James Farr. When we come forward, we'll be talking with your Congresswoman, America's Congresswoman, first in on the impeachment calls. Auntie Maxine is what y'all call her. Congresswoman Maxine Waters is how I address her. She's next on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is threatening to veto any state budget that includes broad-based taxes to balance an estimated $1 billion deficit.
I'm telling you, anything that's broad-based and that would have a negative impact on working families, I would veto a budget like that.
Pritzker said he would specifically veto any budget that includes tax increases on individuals, corporations, or the sales tax. The Capitol Jewish Museum reopens today in Washington, D.C., just over a week after a deadly shooting outside. 2 Israeli embassy staffers were killed on May 21st. The museum opens at noon, following a memorial service for the victims. And President Trump has pardoned rapper NBA Youngboy, who faced fraud and gun charges and commuted 6 life sentences for Gangster Disciples co-founder Larry Hoover. Hoover remains in prison on a separate 200-year sentence for a 1973 murder in Illinois. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Every day, a child in poverty waits for a sponsor is another day of hopelessness. There are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year, and their weight. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Just text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
One half of the NBA Finals is set. The Oklahoma City Thunder crushed Minnesota by 30 last night to win the Western Conference title. 34 points and 8 assists for NBA MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Second appearance for OKC in the NBA Finals. They were there in 2012 with Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. OKC lost to LeBron and the Miami Heat in 5 games. This was the second straight year